Welcome back. A Nashville judge will now make the call if any or all of the Covenant shooter's writings, the so-called manifesto, is released or kept private. That judge heard 2 days of testimony this week from both sides of the argument. The arguments being made are from the Covenant parents. The writings should be kept private, or they could incite copycat killings. From those who want the writings released, these are public records. The public has a right to see them.
There are some very unique issues being presented in this case, and you heard a lot of those. One is, the parents and the Covenant group are just making an extraordinary effort to try to keep these writings from being released. One of the lawyers for that group acknowledged that this would be the very first time that has been done. I've pointed out that, from coast to coast, unfortunately, there's been so many of these shootings, including shootings specifically at schools, and there's always been a release of these sort of records. And there is I think, a public expectation that those records will be released. And so now that creates a new situation where a lot of people are going to have a lot of problem with why are the records not being released.
The Covenant school parents and survivors fear releasing the writings of a deranged killer could lead to more tragedy.
One of the concerns is that even things not directly related to the physical building that is the Covenant school or Covenant church would potentially inspire future individuals who might be sympathetic to the deranged individual that did this or want to further what she did. I mean, that's just something that we live with. And that's the thing, is it may not even be Covenant specific. It might be another school out in the community. And so that's why I've continually said, we don't do this just for our children, but we do this for children in other schools or even other communities, churches, houses of worship, movie theaters, concert, any sort of venue where someone might be inspired to go and take innocent life. And we want to prevent that.
For those wanting the Covenant shooters' documents made public, they argue keeping them private creates doubt in the system.
It just creates a lot of public distrust for what goes on in government. One thing I pointed out in one of the briefs that I filed is that no less than the highest judicial officer in our land, a former U.S. Supreme Court Justice, Chief Justice Warren Burger, he pointed out that in an access case issue, in our open society, the people do not demand that public institutions be infallible, but they have a difficult time accepting what is not made available to them. And so when we have a public expectation that things will be made public, it's going to cause a certain segment of the population, and I think it's going to be a growing segment of the population, to believe that things are being covered up.
The Covenant Parents Group are asking for middle ground, but keep the shooter's writings private.
We're proposing moderation here, which is go ahead and release a lot. Let the police tell people what happened. Let them tell people what they learned. Just don't release these writings. And in theory, I would think most people should be really happy with that.
Yeah. Well, the police, law enforcement, they're the experts.
And they're going to tell us what happened. Yeah.
Exactly. So we want them to release things about their response, the ways that they have handled it, the ways that they have conducted the investigation, and any particular leads that might be relevant from the writings themselves. There is no one, none of the other parties, as much as they were trying to claim it in there is no one that wants justice to be done here more so
than the Covenant parents.
Than the families and the parents who actually suffered this horrific incident. So no one else gets to claim that like we do. And we want the police to be able to educate their fellow law enforcement peers, other police departments to be able to prevent this. And that's the thing. You don't have to have the firsthand material from the shooter to know, gosh, are there policy avenues that could be explored here to prevent mass shootings and gun violence throughout our society? Those are out there. Let's get help to the people that are crying out for help. Let's give families and loved ones the ability to intervene when they are crying out for help. And let's make sure that deranged individuals don't have easy access to firearms to kill and take innocent life. That's a very simple policy agenda that could be enacted right now.
And now both sides wait for what will be a precedent-setting decision on the openness of public records.
I think you can do all that without having access to the original material of the shooter herself. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I want sunshine. I want public inspection of government records. This was content created by a deranged individual. That's all.
Well, I just have every reason to believe that the judge is going to try very hard to apply the law as she sees it. And she was just stating that, that does not make everybody happy.
Stay with us. This Week continues in a moment. Thank you for spending part of your weekend with us. Hope you're enjoying this weekend with your friends and your family. That will do it for another edition of This Week. We hope to see you back here next weekend for a new edition of This Week. Between now and then, enjoy your family, enjoy your work, and enjoy your week.